Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to go through some more educational stuff. We're going to look at learning new skills, bringing them into your workouts. So there's many different parts to this, and we're going to look at some examples. So what we're going to do is first, you've got three phases. You've got doing the skills, the drills, the strength and isolation, building up your volume without any other elements put into that. So that's done, for example, on the side, outside of a Metcon. And this is where you get to get really competent and consistent with doing just that skill on its own. Then we look at, okay, we're competent, consistent with the skill. We go into what we call phase 2 of this is low level fatigue. So doing it slightly elevated with your heart rate. And the best way to do that is using some conditioning machines like ski, bike, or row. And then getting, again, consistent with your skill with your heart rate up. Because everything gets harder when you're fatigued. Your decision making gets harder, counting gets harder, and obviously when we think about that, so does coordination. And a lot of the skills require some coordination. It's one of the 10 components of fitness. So with that, once you are consistent at low level fatigue, we move into phase 3. That's doing it in your workouts. So for example, Fran, thrusters and pull-ups, 21, 15, 9. There's a skilled movement in that in the pull-up. And we'll use that as a bit of an example as we go through this. So drills and strength. Strength for a kipping pull-up, strict pull-ups, okay? Your ability to hold onto the bar, your ability to pull yourself up to the bar will be paramount to learning a kipping pull-up, for example. The drills are your movements, learning the kip swing, learning how to do a hollow hold and arch hold, then building that into the rig and getting your shoulders involved. Then from that, it's getting a bigger kip swing to get your hips to allow you to help get you up towards the bar, and then it's getting your chin over the bar and then being able to push back and go into the next rep. So those are all drills and they require strength. So the drills and the skills go hand in hand. And if you want these skills, you have to work at it and build all those parts around it so that then we can do it in isolation with no fatigue. So let's say for example, we're doing the skills, we're doing the strength. Then what we want to try and do is build our volume. So you go from maybe doing 1 or 2 kipping pull-ups in a row. You want to get to 10, for example. You go build your strength, practice the drills. These two, again, work together. And as you get better at the drills, get better at the strength, your ability to do the kipping pull-up increases. So then what we do is get consistent. So with that, let's say, again, you can do 3 to 5 kipping pull-ups. You're going to do an EMOM, 3 to 5 kipping pull-ups every minute for 10 minutes. And again, I can do that every time I jump up, no matter what, and you got a little bit of adequate rest. Then maybe from there, you're trying to do bigger sets. You might do less. So you might go, I'm going to do 3 to 5 sets of 7 to 10 kipping pull-ups in a row unbroken, but take 2 to 3 minutes rest. So I get a full recovery, but every time I'm doing that, I'm jumping up and I know I'm getting the same amount of reps. And then that brings you to consistency and competency. You can do the movement in isolation, and then that leaves us into phase 2, which is low level fatigue. So low volume with the idea that we build that up with a heart rate increase. So we're trying to get more consistent with the heart rate going up. The best way for us to do that is to add in some easy conditioning that doesn't interfere with how our muscles feel. So that will be row, bike, and ski. So again, if we take the skill of a kipping pull-up or maybe even a double under, I might do 10 to 15 calories in a row, jump off, try to do 7 to 10 kipping pull-ups. I was consistent doing 3 to 5 sets of 7 to 10 kipping pull-ups here. So now what I'm going to try and do is, can I be consistent doing that with my conditioning? So I row, brings my heart rate up a little bit, and then I have to focus on being a little bit more controlled and putting all the drills that I've learned in phase 1 into practice when I have my heart rate up. So again, an example set might be 3 to 5 sets, 10 to 15 calorie row at a sort of 70 to 80% effort, jump off that machine, then into your pull-up bar, 7 to 10 kipping pull-ups. Take a little bit of rest, do that again. Okay, your other option might be an EMOM. Minute 1, you do 12 calories or 40 seconds. Minute 2, you do a set of kipping pull-ups. Again, try to maintain the number and then take a rest. Do that again. And then you repeat that through until you either build up the volume in your pull-ups. So let's say, for example, you do your 15 calorie row and you go from doing 7 kipping pull-ups for 3 to 5 sets. Then you go, can I do 10? Can I do 12? And you build that up. So then once you have the volume in that, it makes it easier when we do a workout that we know we have that behind us to then be able to go into phase 3, which is your Metcon, all right? So those high intensity pieces where your heart rate's sky high, and that's normally where you see your skills break down. So we see people struggle when you jump up to do toes to bar or pull-ups that have low numbers in volume. So let's say, again, you can do 3 kipping pull-ups or 3 toes to bar, but you just go into a workout and all of a sudden that gets really hard to maintain. But if I was able to do 7 to 12 consistently every time from phase 1 through phase 2, when I go into a workout for like Fran, which is thrusters and pull-ups, 21, 15, 9, so 21 thrusters, 21 pull-ups, 15, 15, 9, 9. If I know I have the backing of 10 or 12 pull-ups every time, under a little bit of fatigue, I know that I could break my pull-ups up into 3 sets of 7, short rest, do my thrusters, then 15 thrusters or pull-ups, then I could do that in 5, 5, 5, and then maybe 9 I could push it unbroken. So again, it comes back full circle to you doing phase 1, getting better at that, increasing the volume with a little bit of higher heart rate, putting it into your Metcon and your intensity. So when you get into phase 3, you got your high intensity work. What you would do is decrease the volume first potentially. So for thrusters and pull-ups, 21, 15, 9, it's a really nice example. I could go 21, 15, 9 on thrusters, but I could go 15, 12, 9 on pull-ups. And then the next time I try that in no matter how many months, once I come back to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, try the full version, 21, 15, 9 of both. Same goes for the likes of double unders. Double unders is a skilled movement that you could use as an example. It gets your heart rate up, but again, it takes consistency and competency in that movement, not so much strength. But what you would do is, can I do 5 unbroken double unders every single time and get really consistent with that? It's easy for us to focus on, I want to do 40, okay? But the best way for you to learn that is every time you pick up the rope, I can do 5, and then I rest, and then I do 5, then I do a rest. And then what you would do is, an example is, you do 5 double unders, take a rest, try 10 double unders, take a rest. If you're comfortable with that, go 15. If you get to 15, then go back to 10, then go back to 5. Then you go 5. Next session, you go 5, 10, 15, 20, and you don't move on from the bigger number until you're really consistent with hitting that every time. So with that, you then, again, put it into your workout and break it up into sets. So then you're getting consistent with low numbers to higher numbers to higher numbers with fatigue. So that way, we always go through this cycle, and training will always go through this. If I want to improve something on its own, I'll spend a little bit of time, 10 or 15 minutes after a class or before a class, working on it in isolation, then build it into my workouts, and then build it in here. It's kind of like if you look at some of our classes where we're developed strength work on its own and Olympic lifting, for example, power cleans, working that on isolation, then we build in some volume and we build in some intensity, and then we build it into a higher intensity and a Metcon, okay? So for that, it's really important that we have all these elements built in before we go, okay, I can do 1 pull-up or I can do 1 muscle-up, and then I try to throw it into a workout and wonder why I can't do it. You need to spend time in phase 1, then phase 2, then phase 3, all right? So that's how we cycle through skill work, and that's how you, if you do look at the programming, you'll see these elements come in. We did it with handstand push-ups and toes to bar before Christmas. And we built the strict strength, then we built the kipping, then we built the conditioning, and now it's in our workouts in class, okay? So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that will give you a bit of an insight on how you can acquire a new skill and get it into your workout. We can go more into depth of these things as we progress through these videos and these series. But that's a quick overview on that. And if you have questions, obviously feel free to ask and fire me a message.